Hello, this is Greg Butler, your teacher, and welcome to today's segment of a short story remix. As you can see here, we have our main character, Gobo, and he has several costumes, and that's up to the student as to how they want to implement him. We have buttons, which were drawn by my student in this case. You could also get buttons from the library. If we go under things, and you can get a button like this and then start to modify it yourself. And then we also have several backdrops. We have backdrop 1, backdrop 2, backdrop 3, and these all come from the library right here. And so you could add backdrop 4 if you wanted, and it just pops right in there. In this particular game, what we want to do is let me remove button, is go back to our functional button. So we have two buttons here, and we have a variable called page, because what we want to do is, based upon the page number, define a particular screen in the storytelling that we're doing with Gobo. So at the beginning of this, we click on the green flag, and we notice that we have this particular backdrop. Gobo moves to the right, and he goes off screen. How does he move? We go to his costume, so it's backdrop 1, and basically he starts in the middle of the screen on the bed. He waits, and then we glide slowly 5 seconds to the far right edge of the screen. See, X240 Y50 is off the screen, minus 50, so it's a little bit. So he's just off the screen, and then he hides. And what we're waiting for is then the user to click one of these buttons to update the page. So if I click that, you notice that the page changes to 2. If I click the right arrow again, it clicks to page 3. If I click the left arrow, page. So basically, it changes Gobo's costume. As you can see, they use Gobo A, B, and C. If we look at our costumes, we have Gobo A, B, and C. So in this case, he's using all 3 costumes, and he's using 3 different backdrops. And that's the whole idea of this, is to have the student tell a story in 3 frames. Begin, end, middle, and end is the whole objective. This text here that's typed on the backdrop is just done that exactly. So you can use this text tool, and you can say text on back. And of course, you can move that around and highlight it, or you can paint it a different color if you like. So it's just the usual Windows paint, or you can select it and move it. And of course, that kind of tears up the background. So we could also say undo, and undo, and undo, and undo, and undo. And now if we go back here, we don't have any of that. So that's the whole game in itself. So the most important thing is to have them make a variable, because normally when you don't have anything, it's just blank. And so new variable, say OK, and all of a sudden we have a new variable here available on the screen, which if we can remove if we take off the check mark. And then we have the initial parameters. We can change a parameter, and we can either toggle between page or new variable. Okay, so that's how we're building this, is we're just setting the page to 1 at the beginning with the green flag, and we're going to switch the backdrop. This repeat's actually not necessary, but at all. This is really extraneous. This could just be that as well as here, and so forth. For the buttons, basically if the button is pressed, right, if this sprite is clicked, then this is the left button, and so he's just going to decrement. So if his current value is 3, he's going to decrement by -1 and broadcast show 2, which means that this backdrop, as you can see, show 2 goes to backdrop 2. If we look at backdrop 2, that's number 2. You see that number right there. So that's pretty much how that works. Same thing for this button. If we go to here, basically he starts at 1, he increments, and he broadcasts show. Broadcast is under events, so he does a broadcast, and he increments. So the broadcast will tell the backdrop to change, and then he'll also change the button costume. As you notice, we have 2 buttons, so you can see that it has been pressed. So that's the crux of the game, and we want to just have them do some sort of storytelling. Okay, so in this case, Gobo walks to the right. We click on the right arrow. We read the text. We click on the right arrow again, and he's done. If we want, we can revert back, as you can see, back to page 2 or back to page 1. It's a pretty simplistic story, but that's all we want. That's all.